outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hi everyone and welcome back. So I thought it'd be fun to talk you through all of my 5-star reads in 2023. So let's just go right into it. So some of these are rereads that I have read obviously in the past couple of years. So the first one being Sweet Temptation by Cora Riley. This will always be a 5-star read for me. This was probably like one of the first, if not the first, mafia book that I read and really got into and made me enjoy mafia romances, if I'm being completely honest. I would definitely highly recommend it, and if you are just getting into Cora Riley, I think this is the best book to get into because it is a standalone, but you can read them in connected with the rest of the series. But I didn't do that and I read them fine, so I think you could do the same. So the next 5-star read is Dismount and Out of Bounds by Lucia Franco. I read these at the beginning of the year to finish off the series. I wanted to finish them before 2022 ended, but I never got round to it. So I did read them in January and I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing end to the whole series. You've probably heard me talk about this series quite a bit on my channel because I just absolutely love it. But I think this is a great way to end the series. Like the last book, it was amazing. You definitely got all the questions answered. And the Out of Bounds one is like the behind the scenes and an interview, and it's just like a fun special extra bonus book, and I really enjoyed it. Next is Juniper Hill by Devaney Perry, which is the second book in, I don't even remember what the series is called, in this series, and I really enjoyed it. This is a single mom trope, which I really enjoyed, and I love the relationship between her son and the love interest. Next is Ignite Me by Tara Murphy. So this is the third book in the Shatter Me series, and this is the one where you get the main romance in it, and I really enjoyed this one. Obviously I'm a romance reader, hence why I liked it, but you get so much character growth, especially between Aaron Warner, and you learn a lot more, and I feel like it is just a lot better than the others. Like obviously I love the whole series, but this is the book that will always stand out to me. Then we have the After graphic novel, which is also, I believe, another reread for me. And then we have all of the Heartstopper series. I absolutely love Heartstopper with my heart. You knew I was going to say that. And I will forever recommend the series. The 5th book came out yesterday, which I read today, which I'll also talk about. Another 5-star read. I think that the 5th one was definitely my favourite because you see a lot more and you see them like growing up more and their relationship growing. Oh, and then another reread was Torn by Carrion Cole, which I think I read this in 2021 and really enjoyed it. And this is one of the books of many that got me into the age gap trope. So I will forever recommend this. If you notice, I'm not going into too much detail with these books because I've talked about them a lot throughout the year. Oh, another reread is Him by L. Ash. I've talked about this too many times on my channel, so I'm not going to bore you with it again. Oh, next we have Next of Kin, which is actually a book that I don't talk about often, even though I really do love it. So this, I can't remember the characters' names, I'm not good with characters' names at all, but it's about this woman and her mother ends up having another daughter unexpectedly, and then because her mother has problems, she ends up wanting to try and adopt her sister, and then there is a male main character who has a deaf brother and is having to look after him. Now, for them to adopt, for him to adopt his brother and for her to adopt her sister, that each one of them have to have something. So I think one of them had to have financial stability, and one of them had to have like a good place for them to live, basically. And so then they come together and then they work together to try and be able to adopt their siblings. The next one is Highest Bidder by Sarah Kay. This book I absolutely loved. Obviously I loved the whole series, but this would definitely be my favourite, I think, because I love the characters. I just loved everything about this book. I read it in one sitting. It literally took me like 2 hours. It's definitely over 300-page book, so you could definitely tell how much I loved it. The next book is Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. I talk about this a lot. There it is. Wall of Fame. This is my favourite fantasy book. Definitely different from all my other 5-star reads because all the others are romances, so definitely different. This is obviously a romantasy, but it has fantasy in it. I love the dragon aspect. I love the characters. Violet and Xaden, I feel like are perfect together. Obviously, there's a second book, which I am in the middle of reading still. I know. But I'm hoping to add a review in some kind of vlog, but if I can't, and then I will just do a separate video for it. Then we have Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher and Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I absolutely love this series, but Terms and Conditions and Final Offer, especially Final Offer, I will forever talk about this series. I absolutely love it. And like I said, especially the last book. I don't know what it was about the last book. I feel like I don't know, I think I connected to it a little bit more, but I absolutely loved it. And considering the size, it's like over 500 pages, I read it quite quickly. The next book is Done and Dusted. This book I absolutely loved. I read it so quickly. I actually read it in one day, which is quite impressive, although it is a short book, so not really. But I read this in the perfect aesthetic because I decided with this book to try and read it with the playlist that people make on Spotify, which I had never, well, I did do before, but not often enough. And I thought this would probably be the perfect time because it was like a cowboy romance. And I also read it in Wales, which is obviously like the countryside, and it was the perfect vibe, and I absolutely loved it. And I don't think I could get any more perfect vibes with a book ever again, and it just made the experience so much better. Then we have King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This I would definitely say is probably my favourite book from Anna Huang, or series. Most people say Twisted series, but honestly, like that series, I can't remember what the series is called, but with the King of Wrath, like definitely one of my favourite series, and I'm so excited to read the third book as well. Then we have The Worst Kept Secret by QB Tyler. QB Tyler can never write anything bad in my opinion. Like all of her books I absolutely love. This book in general, I've got to say I can't even choose a favourite between hers, but this is definitely one I really enjoyed. Again, read it in one sitting, one day. I absolutely loved it. Like I read it on the release day as well. I will be recommending this. Obviously I haven't had a chance to recommend it a lot because it only came out 3rd November I believe, but this book is so good. It's age gap. Obviously QB Tyler always does age gaps and she does it so well. Like all of her books I highly recommend because they're just so good. Then we have The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is one I read recently, and I love this book so much. The characters, the plot, just everything about this book I love. I read it so quickly. Mile High took me a little bit to get into at first, and then once I did it was fine. It like 4 stars. The Right Move though was so good. I still got the 3rd book to read, but I don't think anything could beat The Right Move. Like this is definitely a new favourite. Like I absolutely love it. And then the last one we have so far is Take You Down by McKay Marie. This book I absolutely loved, and definitely something different from what I normally read. It's not very often that I choose to pick up a book about a band, but this was so good. I did read it very quickly. Like, well, I did take a bit of a pause because I was away and I never really got back into it because I was reading for videos, but recently I got back into it and I read it in one sitting. Like the last like 70-80% I just flew through. It was so good and I really enjoyed my time reading it, and I'd highly recommend. So those are my 5-star reads for 2023. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.